One, two, mic check. Alright, cool. Hey guys, BY's guy here. Today I got a QSS tutorial for you guys. Sorry, a little bit of a mind blank. So Qt StyleSheets, what are they? What can you do with them? And will they make you President of the United States? That's today's news in this tutorial. So Qt StyleSheets are an immensely powerful way of combining kind of the idea of the web CSS style sheets on the web with a desktop environment, desktop applications, and so on and so forth. Now, there is QML. QML is a completely different thing again. I'm not going to probably make any QML tutorials, as I don't really know enough about QML. I just know that it's really cool and it uses JavaScript style syntax. If you guys want to know about QML, I'll put a link to a guy who seems to be making some pretty cool QML videos. I haven't seen a lot of QML tutorials on the internet at all, which is a shame. And that's one of the reasons I've never really kind of dived into QML, is there's just not a lot of information out there as far as information. But if I ever pick up QML, I'll definitely go ahead and make those videos. Now, getting all that stuff out of the way, that's done. Let's get started. So, you're probably here because you want to know how to make good-looking desktop applications, not just, Windows Gray Forms applications. So it's actually really, really easy with QSS, which stands for Qt StyleSheets. Yeah, something like that. QSS. So, go ahead and make a new application. We're just going to make a little demo application to kind of showcase QSS and how it works. Qt widget application, and let me just pause the video. I'm going to find a spot I can actually put this in. Alright, so in the power of YouTube magic time space warping, I've got a path to put it in. Just go ahead and call this one like QSS1 or something. It doesn't really matter. And in fact, I'm going to set this as my default now. I'm using Qt 5.4.1 with Qt Creator 3.3.1. So that's the latest as of the creation date of this video. That's the latest stable release of the Qt framework. So after that, go ahead and click next, and then hit finish, and let Qt Creator generate all this code for you. Alright, awesome. So head over to the main UI, and we're just going to be using this main UI just for this moment in time. I will get around to styling widgets and other things, but just for now, we're going to be focusing on this and the elements that you can actually drop into here. Basically, the default widgets that come with Qt. So, go ahead and, as we always do, compile the application. Make sure you've got no weird compiler bugs, no linker issues, anything like that. It's all, nice and it's all working nicely. All right, cool. So, seems to be working just fine, and we've got a blank main window. So, kill that, easy peasy. So you'll notice that when I run that application, it's kind of boring, and it's basically the system default window. Now, what I'm going to do is just do some stuff here. All right. Up on GitHub, if you guys go to my GitHub, the Open Dev Project /QSS UI, you will find all of these style sheets, and I'm creating a repository of these style sheets, which you can use in your own applications, and I'm releasing it under the MIT license. Currently there's only one, which is Metro UI, but we're going to use the Metro UI and develop that further in these tutorials. So, if you don't want to type all this code out and you want a starting place, go to the metroui.qss file. And just for time's sake, I will be basically typing these out again and explaining as I go. So I'm dragging that over to my other window. Sorry, to my other monitor. Alright, first things first, let's explain some stuff. Let's get the QSS editor open. Oh, that's temperamental to drag. Alright, so you'll notice in the designer here, we have a whole bunch of stuff. Now if you go to here, you'll see style sheet. Make sure that the object the object in which you're styling is kind of like the most parent object of your tree of objects, your hierarchy. And I'll get into that a little bit later as to why. It kind of affects a lot of the properties, the way that they style each other and so on. And if you're familiar with CSS, you'll kind of understand the concept of like, that's kind of like a div in CSS, or a div where you put multiple divs inside your thing, and it's by it's left to right kind of. So anyway, pull up the editor, and this will be probably quite a long tutorial, guys, so you can kind of figure it out from the QSS file, or you can keep watching. I'm expecting this to be about 20 minutes, just to give you guys a quick heads up. Alright, so move your editor over to one side, because you're going to need this little panel up here, which I can't click because this thing is open, but you'll see two things. One, you'll see class, and you'll also see the object. Now, the class is, well, that's just it. In C++, you have a class, and in QSS, you also have classes. And the class represents the object itself, and the object is kind of the single instance of that object, if you will. And in fact, we can demonstrate that by going to one of these objects. What we'll do is we'll put a, what can we put on to here, which is really simple. We can put a button on here. Okay. Now we've got our button on here, and we'll go up to the top and we'll name our button button hello. Now you'll see that the class did not change because it's still a Q push button. However, the name of the object did change, which is button hello. So that's pretty straightforward. Anyway, so let's go back to our editor and start styling stuff. So we wanna style the overriding whole thing. We don't want to style one specific button, right? We'll get into styling specific elements on our form probably in the next video, but for this I want to explain how to style the entire thing to create a kind of consistent theme for our applications, which is what QSS UI is basically going for. So, first thing you do is we're going to style the Q main window. That is the entire main window form. Now, if you're familiar with CSS, this will feel really at home to you. Let's set a background color, and I'm going to make the background color 1D, 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 1D. No, too many 1Ds, I think. 1D, 1D, yeah, 3 1Ds, RGB in hex. Alright, so go ahead and click OK, and you'll notice a weird thing has occurred. And that is that the background color for the actual form did not change. So you might be thinking, well, that's weird. Why is that? Oh, whoops, sorry. Let me just retype that again, since I accidentally deleted it. Okay, so you're thinking, why didn't that style? That's weird. Well, let's go ahead and compile and see how it looks. Hold on a second, but in the designer, the thing's not styled. Why is that? That is so weird. Well, the designer has some weird quirks, and I would call them quirks. They're kind of intentional, but they're also kind of quirks. So one of the quirks is that some elements don't get styled unless you style them specifically that object, then the designer doesn't pick up on the fact sometimes that that's the way that it's styled. I'm not really sure why. I haven't looked through the source code for Qt Creator. That's just kind of how it works. But when you compile, it will be as you expect. So let's go ahead and style something else. Let's go ahead and let's go and style the menu bar. So let's add a menu thing. We'll say File, and we'll say click me. Okay. Alright, so we have a menu, and we'll run this, and we'll see that the inheritance tree has created a certain level of inheritance. So for example, this thing here, which is our action bar, it's been styled, but only by inheritance. But our menu bar has not. But we now do have a menu bar, so let's go ahead and style that. So let's go back to our QMain window class, and we'll go down to the style sheet for this for the QMain window, and we will type in Q menu bar and give it a background color. I'm a fan of consistency, especially for things like Metro UI, so we'll say background color, and in fact, just to save some time, we can just copy and paste this, just like that. Now, we might add some padding to that, just to make it look a little better. I know that the default is kind of so-so. The padding, it needs a little bit more in my opinion, so let's go, and also we'll change the font size, so we'll say 12 pt, and MS Shell DLG, which I think stands for dialogue 2, and we'll click OK. Alright, so you'll notice that that's kind of done some weird things, which it has. So let's go ahead and build that. Right, so we have our menu bar styled. That's cool. Alright, we have a styled menu bar. However, the buttons on the menu bar have not styled themselves, and you might be thinking that doesn't make any sense. I just changed it. I'm sorry if I just moved away from my microphone. Well, the reason that it didn't actually change was because you didn't style the menu file button. So you'll see you actually did style Q menu bar. However, Q menu and Q action was not styled. So let's go ahead and style those because we want a good looking menu bar, right? So let's go down here and we'll go back to our style sheet. And we will do, what we'll do is we're going to learn about something new, which is a selector in Qt. So we'll say Q menu bar, item. Now, that is a really quick way and a really easy way of styling the items inside of a specific class, but the items that are contained within it. I don't know if that makes sense, and that's the best way I can explain it is, it's kind of like a hierarchical selector that affects the items inside of a specific thing, and certain classes have access, provide access to certain elements in them via the QSS classes. So Q menu bar has a property called item. Now let's go ahead and style this as well, and I'm going to, for time's sake, just copy and paste the style out of QSS, and we're going to hit OK, and you'll notice now that that's styled. So let's go run this again, and let's see what that looks like. Alright, cool. So we've got our menu bar styled. However, the drop down is not styled, and that's annoying, isn't it? Like, we want that styled. Okay, so let's go ahead and style that as well. So you'll notice if we look down in our thing here, we have, under the menu file, we have a few Q actions, right? So we have the action to click me, okay, and we have action okay. Alright, so back up to our style sheet here again, open that up, easy peasy. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is we're going to style the Q menu, since actually that's what that thing is. And the color we're going to set is, for the thing, is FFF, and we're going to set a padding of 0. Next, we're also going to we're going to style the selected item. So I'm just going to copy and paste this as well into here. So you'll kind of see what this does. So let's hit OK and build and run this. Alright, so we now have a somewhat weirdly styled but still styled menu bar. So some things we're going to do in the designer just quickly to the Q menu bar. To the Q menu is we're going to where is it? Actually no, we won't do that. What we'll do is we will set the background color of the Q menu. That's what I was going to do. Sorry. So go back up to here, and we want to, I don't know why I didn't do this in here, my bad. Yeah, so I'm basically recreating this. I have some weird code in the Q menu stuff, so you'll have to bear with me here. There we go. Alright, that's what I wanted, so some contrast. So let's build and run this again. And you'll notice now we have a very Metro UI looking Q menu bar, right? Now, let's do some stuff that's not in the QSS style sheet. So let's say we have our menu and we want to make it like have a border radius, like in CSS3. Well, you can actually do that. and let's just say, let's set it to 7 pixels, and we'll hit OK, and let's build and run that and see what that looks like. Weird, it didn't work. Some things, I must note, some things don't allow you to set certain properties on them. Q menu might be one of those ones where border radius does not actually work. But what we'll do is, no fear, let's create a cool looking button, right? And also what I want to do is I want to style the, where is it? Sorry, I just had to pause the video to find some stuff and regather myself. Alright, cool, so we're back. So, we're going to also style the status bar. Now, what's the status bar? The status bar allows you to basically set certain statuses of the application in the state in your program. So, what do I mean by that? I mean, say an event is occurring and you want to update the user on what's actually happening. Well, we need a place to put that, and Qt provides a status bar just for doing that. Now, I'm kind of going with Visual Studio's design here a little bit, and we'll style that. So let's go and style the Qt status bar. So we'll make a definition for that class, and I'm going to copy the definition here from GitHub, which you guys, again, you can find these themes on GitHub, which we're going to create. So we'll hit OK, and you'll notice that the status bar has now changed. So if I compile this, and I drag this over here, you'll see that we have a gray and purple form. Now, let's do one more style, just for good merits. Let's in fact style the button, because I know buttons can be a pain point for a lot of people. Now, I'm going to copy and paste the code into here, and then I'm going to basically walk through and explain it. So, let me just grab this from here. Make sure I've got everything I do. Alright, cool. So let's paste this and let's hit OK. And if we click run over here, you'll notice that we have a fully styled button, right? And it's no longer the default button for the thing. So how does that work? Alright, well, let's go through that bit of code. So the first definition that we have here is for the Q push button itself. Now, one thing you should know is that border style has to be changed in order for the background effect to change. Sorry, for the background color to update. The reason is because the way that the renderer actually renders, it renders the border inwards. I'm not really sure why they chose that. I'm pretty sure it's due to cross-compatibility with different window managers, the way that they render buttons. But nonetheless, that's just how you have to do it. So we set a background color of 3D, a color of FFF, which is the text color, and then we set a border radius of 7 pixels, which makes our button a little more rounded. Now, going on to the next one, Q push button hover, fairly straightforward. When I hover over the button, I want the fact that the button is being hovered on to actually be noticed. So what do? First of all, I change the color of the text to CCC, which is a kind of grayish color. The next thing I do is I use a gradient. Now, Qt has this awesome gradient system which you can use, and to create a gradient, I will show you that in the next video, but basically you would just go up to here and choose the kind of gradient you want and use the gradient creator. And the background color will change to this Q linear gradient. I set a border color to 2D89EF, which is that blue color, and I set the border width to 2 pixels. Again, when someone clicks on the button, I want to change the background color to be inverted. I want to invert the gradient so that it looks like it's being pushed on. So I simply set a background color of Q linear gradient. Alright, so thanks for watching, guys. That's all I really got time for in this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. Subscribe if you want to. Rate the video shittily if it was shit. Rate it good if it was good. Don't just rate it shit because it was shit. And actually, no, do rate it shit if it was shit because it lets me know. And anyway, this has been a fun tutorial for me to do, guys. Peace the fuck out, this Bitwise guy. And one thing, shout out to MarcusDBX for this video. He's kind of looking into Qt stuff, so I thought I'd make this one for him. Anyway, cheers, guys.